The votes are being counted. Right now. Tonight. In the councils he tried to make disappear. And there is nothing, not a press release, not a carefully worded statement, not a single spin doctor in all of Downing Street that can stop what is coming through that door on Friday morning. We told you this was coming. We told you exactly why he tried to cancel these elections. We told you the numbers that terrified him. And now, the British public, the voters he tried to silence, the communities he tried to manage, the people he genuinely believed would just accept being told their vote wasn't happening this year, are delivering their verdict. This is not a bad night for Labour. A bad night is losing a few seats. A bad night is a swing against you in a marginal ward. What is coming is not a bad night. This is a reckoning, built over 19 months of broken promises, arrogant decisions, and a Prime Minister so disconnected from the people he governs that he thought cancelling their elections was a reasonable thing to try. He tried to stop this moment. The courts brought it back, and now every single vote being counted tonight is a vote he tried to prevent you from casting. Stay with me, because what I am about to walk you through is the full picture of what these results mean, not just for one election night, but for the future of this Prime Minister, this Labour government, and the country that has to live with both. Let's establish something first, because context matters here. When Keir Starmer walked into Downing Street, Labour had just won the biggest parliamentary majority in a generation. Over 400 seats. A landslide. The kind of result that is supposed to give a government a mandate, a cushion, time to govern without looking over its shoulder. That majority has not changed. He still has it. He still controls the Commons. But here is what has happened to the public support underneath it. National polling has Labour at 17%. 17. That is lower than the 21% they polled under Jeremy Corbyn in 2019 when they lost to Boris Johnson. It is lower than any point in the 21st century. It is a number so catastrophic that professional pollsters initially questioned their own methodology when it came in. But here's where it gets worse. In the councils where tonight's votes are being counted, the local Labour heartlands, the northern seats, the London boroughs that have been red since before some of these councillors were born, Reform is polling at 28%, the Conservatives at 21%, and Labour, the party of the NHS, the party of the working man, the party that has run some of these councils since the 1980s, is sitting in third place. Third place. In their own heartlands. Projections going into tonight suggested Labour would hold 14 of the 128 councils they previously controlled. 14. That is not a defeat. That is an erasure. But here's where it gets truly catastrophic. Those projections were made before tonight, before the results, before the actual votes of actual British people. People who were told just weeks ago that their election might not happen were counted. And the early indications suggest the projections were, if anything, optimistic for Labour. The reckoning is worse than even the polling predicted. Here is the impossible position Keir Starmer is in tonight. And I want you to understand this clearly, because there is no version of this where he comes out looking like a leader. The first trap. If Labour's results tonight are as bad as projected, historic losses, councils flipping, reform gaining across the board, Starmer has to stand up and explain why. And he has three options. If he blames the results on the cost of living and global pressures, he admits his government has failed to protect people from exactly the crisis he was elected to fix. He owns the energy bills. He owns the North Sea sitting undrilled. He owns every decision that made things worse rather than better. If he blames the results on communication, on not getting the message out, on failing to explain his policies properly, he is saying the public are too confused to understand how good he is. To a 50-plus British voter who has been paying attention since before this man entered politics, that argument lands like a slap. If he accepts responsibility and promises change, then he has just confirmed that everything his government has done in 19 months needed changing. Every U-turn justified, every critic vindicated, every person who said he was wrong proven right. There is no escape. The second trap. The election cancellation story does not go away tonight. It gets worse, because every council that flips tonight, every seat that turns from red to reform, every Labour stronghold that falls, is a council where Starmer tried to cancel the vote. The story was always, he tried to cancel elections because he knew he would lose them. Tonight, the results prove exactly how badly he would have lost. The cover story collapses in real time. If the results are catastrophic, and they are, then it proves the cancellation attempt was exactly what we said it was. Self-preservation, nothing more. The third trap. His own MPs are watching, and they have constituencies to protect. Every Labour MP sitting in a marginal seat tonight is doing the same calculation. Is this man an asset or a liability? Is he someone I can campaign alongside in a general election, or someone I need to distance myself from? Is he the future of this party, or the reason it has no future? The answer those MPs give in the days after tonight will determine whether Starmer survives as leader, and he knows it. Before I get to what is actually happening on the ground tonight, the specific results, the specific seats, the specific moments that will define this election, I need 30 seconds. If you are watching this, you are part of a growing community of people who are done being managed. Done being told the polite version. Done watching mainstream broadcasters give equal weight to the government's spin and the actual truth. This channel exists because that community exists, and we are getting bigger every week. Hit subscribe right now. Turn on the notification bell, because what I am about to tell you next, the internal Labour panic, the conversations happening in Westminster tonight that will not be on the BBC, is something they absolutely do not want you to know. Here is what is happening inside the Labour Party tonight that the cameras are not showing you. Before a single result was declared, Labour MPs were already briefing journalists. Not on the record, anonymously, carefully. But the message was consistent enough that it is impossible to ignore. One senior Labour figure, speaking to a national political correspondent before the polls closed, described the mood in the parliamentary party as beyond grim. Not disappointed, not concerned, beyond grim. Another MP, representing a seat in the north of England that Labour has held for decades, told a reporter that the party cannot keep pretending the problem is messaging. The problem, this MP said, is the decisions. The winter fuel cut, the North Sea, the Mandelson appointment, the U-turns. Voters, this MP said, are not confused about what we've done. They understand it perfectly. That's the problem. A third source, described only as a minister, said that if the results tonight are as bad as the private polling suggests, there will be serious conversations about the leadership within days, not weeks. This is Starmer's own people. This is not the Conservatives. This is not Reform. This is not this channel. This is Labour MPs, people who knocked on doors for this man, who voted for his policies, who defended him on morning television, saying privately what they are not yet willing to say publicly. But here is what always happens in British politics. The private conversations of today become the on-the-record statements of next week. The anonymous briefings become the named interviews. The serious conversations become the formal leadership challenges. The question is not whether those conversations are happening. They are. The question is how bad tonight's results have to be before those conversations stop being private. And the answer to that question is arriving, council by council, ward by ward, right now. We are watching a Prime Minister's authority collapse in real time. Let us name what is actually happening here, clearly, without spin, just the facts laid out in order. Disaster 1. The mandate disaster. Starmer won a historic majority and has spent 19 months burning through the goodwill that majority represented. The winter fuel cut told 10 million pensioners their government did not see them as a priority. The North Sea decision told every family paying an energy bill that ideology matters more than their heating costs. 13 major U-turns told every voter that the government has no consistent plan at all. You cannot govern from a position of constant reversal and expect the public not to notice. They noticed. Tonight is the proof. Disaster 2. The legitimacy disaster. When you try to cancel elections, you do not just lose a news cycle, you lose something deeper. You break the unspoken agreement between government and governed. The agreement that says, whatever you think of us, you can remove us at the ballot box. The moment a government appears to be protecting itself from that mechanism, it has lost the claim to legitimate authority. Starmer broke it. The courts forced him to restore it. But the break is on the record, and every voter walking into a polling station tonight walked in knowing that the man asking for their continued trust had already tried to avoid their judgment. Disaster 3. The succession disaster. Here is the number that should genuinely frighten anyone who cares about stable government in this country. 83%. That is the current market probability that Keir Starmer will not lead Labour into the next general election. Not a fringe view, not a political opponent's hope. The betting markets, which aggregate the judgments of thousands of people with money on the line, say there is an 83% chance this man does not make it to the next election as leader. 64% of voters want him to resign now. That figure is worse than Liz Truss, worse than Rishi Sunak heading into the 2024 wipeout. His net approval rating sits between -42 and -48. There is no modern British precedent for a Prime Minister this unpopular surviving. Tonight's results will not save him. Tonight's results will accelerate everything. Here is where we are. A Prime Minister who won the biggest majority in a generation is watching councils fall that Labour has held for 40 years. His own MPs are briefing journalists anonymously that the leadership question is coming. The elections he tried to cancel are delivering exactly the verdict he feared. And the British public, the voters he underestimated, the communities he tried to manage, the people he thought would accept being told their election was inconveniently timed, have spoken. He knew what they were going to say. That is why he tried to stop them saying it. The mainstream broadcasters will spend the next 48 hours giving you the managed version. The gracious concession language. The talk of lessons learned. The promise to listen harder and communicate better. They will present this as a bump in the road, rather than a collapse without modern precedent. We will not do that here. Subscribe right now. Because the story does not end on election night. It starts there. The leadership conversations that are anonymous tonight become named next week. The results that land on Friday morning will trigger events in Westminster that will reshape British politics. This channel will cover every moment of it, without the spin, without the managed version, without the establishment filter. Leave a comment below. I want one answer from you. Simple question. After tonight, after the results, after the cancelled elections, after 19 months of broken promises and U-turns, do you think Keir Starmer will still be Prime Minister by the end of this year? Yes or no? Tell me what you think. The comments on this channel are where people who actually pay attention talk to each other. Be part of that conversation. Share this video, not for the views, because every person who watches this is one more person who cannot be told a managed version of what happened tonight and believe it. Every share is a rejection of the official narrative. They are counting on the story being buried under the next news cycle. They are counting on you moving on. They are counting on your attention being somewhere else by Monday. Don't give them that. The votes he tried to cancel have been counted. The verdict he tried to prevent has been delivered. And a Prime Minister who thought he could manage his way out of democratic accountability is sitting in Downing Street tonight, watching the results come in. He knew what was coming. He tried to stop it. He failed. They are counting on you not paying attention. Prove them wrong.